What's going on, people? It's Jimmy Lincoln with Spitfire Hip Hop. Today we have a special guest from Miami. He's multifaceted. He's an MC. He's a podcast host, and most recently a videographer, I believe. Um, Today we have on our site Mr. Beleaf from Miami. Man, how are you today?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me once
No.
again, man. Thanks.
No, definitely, man. Thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day, man, to spend with us and help us learn what's going on in your world. And down there in Miami, man, I don't know what's going on down there, but they have a lot of good art. You guys have a lot of good artists down there, man. So we
A little
appreciate.
melting pot over here, man. We're doing good over here. Yeah.
Yeah, so we appreciate what you cats are doing, man, and wanted to have you on, ask you a few questions, and learn more about you. So
All right, bet.
why don't you start with the name and explain to the people what how you came up with your name and what that actually means.
Well, initially it was a breakdancing league. I used to breakdance when I was younger, and it was kind of a play off of Mr. Wiggles from I believe the Rocksteady Crew or New York City Breakers. I can't remember which one he was in, but it was kind of a play off of that. Um, and Belief, it kind of have multiple layers to it due to the fact that I am religious. I am a follower of Christ. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I have that embedded in my name as well. But the reason why I don't spell it the right way, because essentially it has lie in the middle. You know what I'm saying? The way it's initially spelled.
Right.
So it was just one of those things, like when I first actually started emceeing, I had dropped the Mister, and I was just Belief. But then after a while, I bumped into well, not physically, but I ran across other music from a Christian rapper named Belief Melanin, and I was like, I respected his music, I respected his craft, and I didn't want his audience to get confused with my audience because even though I am a follower of the faith, I am a little bit more raunchy and a little bit more tongue to cheek. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that I'm like the best follower like in that sense, though. So like, I just threw the Mister on there so that way it kind of went back to my breaking days and also just just a new chapter in my life. I'm a lot older now, so I'm like, all right, let's put the Mister on there because I'm no longer a kid. You feel me?
No, I got you. I got you. I appreciate that. And so talk about that, man. I mean, you're a believer of the faith, but you're not a straightforward kind of. You don't hold your tongue. You say certain words that maybe quote unquote Christian rappers don't use. I mean, how does that sit with your audience?
Well, I mean, essentially, my audience is not it's not a Christian audience, right? You know what I'm saying? This is like for me, I find it. I love the art of being able to tell so many different not being limited into my bars. You know what I'm saying? And I what I find in a lot of like the Christian music is just like it's predominantly locked into one major subject matter. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool and it's great. But in my the way I approach it, I'm like, look, I'm gonna still show people that I am a believer and I am gonna, tell people what I believe in. But there's certain things that I just don't see like, for instance, like cursing and stuff like that. I've read the Bible a lot. I've heard one people use a scripture. It was like a foolish talk, but essentially, I don't think it does it zero ins on that like cursing. You know what I'm saying? Because for instance, you know a slur word over here for the gay community would be like fag or whatever, but in Europe or France, and that's a cigarette. So like I look at that as like, okay, these are sounds coming out of your mouth, so it can't be to that nature. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, you said this, so that's foolish talk. I think that has something to do with something else. So that's why I curse in my music and I do, I approach it from a different angle,
Okay.
essentially. but I can't say that I make Christian music because that would be posing a false narrative.
Got you. That's fair. That's fair. And I checked out your Instagram. You're on, of course, social media, man. How do how do
Yeah.
you um how do you utilize the platforms, man, to connect with your audience and share your music?
To be honest, man, I'm just I learn as I go, man. I mimic a lot of people, whatever they're doing. I'm like, all right, let me see if I do that, But like essentially, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of it whatsoever because I'm not a fan of promoting the music online. Like I do it because essentially that's the only place where people can be heard at this point or be discovered at this point. But it just seems like a weird game. You're fighting an algorithm that changes all the time, and it's just like it kind of seems sensitive to a point.
Right, right. And you hear
Yeah,
a lot of people talk about that algorithm, right? Because, a lot of artists have, some of the mainstream artists, they have a large following, right? And if they allowed every piece of content from one of those artists to reach their audience, then they couldn't sell the advertising to, those big corporations, right? So, that's
exactly.
what you hear about that algorithm, that, it must change because it's going to mess up their business model if it doesn't, right?
Of course. Essentially, if you have somebody that has like let's say 4 or 5 million followers, and whatever they post is reaching all those 4 million, then you have that person has their own network, and
Exactly.
they can't have that. They can't have that. They could give you the numbers, say you got 4 million, but like
Right.
trust me, 4 million ain't seeing your post. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right. No, no, no. I get that, man. I get that. And speaking of, online and streaming, um, in this era of streaming and digital platforms, um, how do you think the consumption of hip hop has changed, right? And when you go from selling CDs or physicals or albums to now streaming, and how do you adapt to that part of it, right? Because you say right now you don't, I don't like social media too much. I don't like doing the promotion and that sort of thing. But
Yeah,
they've made it so much where you have to use these streaming platforms to, because the labels are in bed with these streaming platforms, right? and
yeah.
and everything is run through these platforms. How do you, you know being one that doesn't really like social media and being on online a lot, how do you adapt your focus to that?
I mean, essentially, you just gotta like um and it's all about where you're gonna what the outcome you want. You know what I'm saying? Like I can hate it all I want, but you know what I'm saying, that's the game that needs to be played. If I want to be considered a player in the game, I have to participate in that game one way or another. You know, it's unfortunate. I feel like honestly, the way that the music is consumed nowadays is, how do I say, it's there's so much quantity. You know what I'm saying? And there's quality out there, but there's so much quantity that even the quality that you come across will be forgotten in a day or two. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
You'll see one dope record and be like, man, this artist is great and has great potential. And then you'll run across another artist a couple of days later, or you'll just forget about that song because there's so much stuff coming out you at you in those streaming platforms and everything. Before we used to go buy the CD. We used to buy the CD. We'll open up the little booklet or even the cassette. We'll take it back to then. We'll look at the lyrics, look at everything, and
right,
it kind of gave you a sense of ownership. You're like, yeah, I got this. It's my record, and you'll sit on that record for months and months all in. You know what I'm saying?
right,
And there'll never be another 36 chambers or something of that nature,
right,
due to
right.
the fact that people are not going to sit on a record that long, in my opinion. Maybe they will. Who knows?
No, that's true, man. And speaking of not sitting on something very long. This whole thing is evolving very quickly, right? The hip hop scene you has to adjust to what's going on online with all this AI and that sort of thing. What do you think is the next frontier for the any trends in hip hop?
Well, I mean, they did have that. You brought up the AI thing, so it kind of brought up to my head. Didn't they have like a fake rapper or something like that, like an AI rapper for like a brief moment?
And and
But
I think and
I think that's gonna be the
the
next one.
AI rapper sold albums or music too, right? I think.
Yeah, yeah, he was doing good. um, but I think essentially with this new I saw just today a new program that they have on OpenAI that is called Soran or something like that.
I
And
heard of that
bro,
one too.
yeah, it's indistinguishable to real life, at this point. And eventually you're gonna have somebody just writing the lyrics, putting in, like, or not even writing the lyrics. They go to Chat GPT. It's gonna be all AI at some point,
And that
like at least for the industry level.
Right, right. And I think someone's already done that, right? With a couple of artists where they've taken their voices, thrown it
Yeah.
into, one of those, AI programs, man, and it they had a feature from one of those big artists, right?
Yeah, I remember. I think the dude, the guy was going by the name Ghostwriter. Not to get confused with my boy Ghostwriter from Miami, but
Okay.
it was like some other dude named Ghostwriter that he took Drake and Weekend,
That was
their
the one.
voices.
That was the one.
Yeah, and he made a hit record because that record everybody was jamming to it because it was like, damn, this it sounded so close to the real thing that it was indistinguishable. And that
Right,
was, and mind you, my man, this is the beginning. You know what
right,
I'm saying? This is the
right,
beginning of
right.
the AI stuff. So
Yeah, no, it's just starting, man. Like I think there's one right now where you can it might be Chat GBT where you can type in a prompt and it will give you a video. You can type in, "Hey, I want to be on the beach," or "I want to be in New York City or Tokyo, and this is what I want to wear," and and it shoots out a video
yep,
for you. That stuff is crazy, and it looks like
yeah, man,
looks like a real person.
facts, man. I mean, you know who I really feel for, to be honest, is the graphic designers. The graphic designers, yo, because honestly, as much as I got love for them and everything like that, it is a lot easier for me to just put a prompt in there and make the record the way I want it, or make not the record but the
Yeah.
cover the way I want it for the record. And it's like it's simple, it's free, and eventually they're gonna be weeded out, and it sucks because that's the truth of the matter. It's supply and demand, and if the demand is high and it's free, you can't beat free.
That's true, and it was already tough for them, right? Because there's a ton of graphic artists out there, man. You see, they DM you all the time. Hey, I can do this cover or that cover for you.
Yeah,
It was already a tough business, and now you
fact.
add this AI to it, man. It's just even more difficult for them to get work, I guess. And like you said,
Yeah,
it's just the beginning too. It's just the beginning, man. This thing is gonna go crazy.
definitely, man. So, you can't put the genie back in the bottle, man. That's it.
Yeah.
It's open. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, they let that thing out, man. So it's I guess you have to adapt, right? You have to
facts.
adapt to it.
You gotta just move with it. Like you gotta move with it and learn how to maneuver within it and try to capitalize within those beginning stages
Right,
because then there'll be something else new that you're gonna have to learn how to capitalize within that.
right. Now, I understand you're an avid reader, man, and you have excuse me, you have knowledge of various topics, man. And how do you, outside of your interest and the influences in hip hop, how do you find your way into music and your creative process, right? Does it the does what you read outside of the books that you read or the articles that you read outside of hip hop, how does that influence what you do inside of hip hop?
Well, essentially, I feel like it expands my vocabulary. Just for the fact that I read as much as I do. But it's like you open up. How do I say? Like people are a lot of MCs. They. This is how I view it. A lot of MCs they're looking like this. You know what I'm saying? They kind of got the blinders. This is what everybody's seeing right here. You know what I mean? And the way I operate is I have a system for me reading books, right? I do fiction, nonfiction, um, and then vice versa. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep on doing that, but like the first two is fiction and nonfiction, not my choice of subject matters I don't know nothing about,
Okay.
right? And then the next two are things that I want to read, right? Or subject matters I want to do. And the reason why I do that is to be able to open myself to other ideas and learn about things that I would have never known. And
Right.
I keep doing that until like I try never to get out of a book. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But to answer your question, like I said, with the books, those binders are out. I'm pulling subject matters from all over the place.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? From here, from there, and it just kind of it helps me a lot in my music because it's not hard to find words at times. You feel
Right.
me?
Exactly. 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 Now, what is the latest book you read, and what's your favorite book that you've read?
All right, my the latest book I read is The Courage to Be Disliked. It's I forget there's two authors. I forget the names. They're two Japanese authors. It's about a psychologist. It's essentially the whole book is about a student of psychology challenging a psychologist that created a theory,
Okay.
right, of
Okay.
way of life or whatnot. And
Okay.
it's very intriguing, man. Like I recommend it to everybody. That was the latest book that I'm kind of still in. I'm almost done with it. And my favorite book, man.
That's a crazy
Uh
title of that book. Your latest book. That's a crazy title, man.
the courage to be disliked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I think they got an audio book out there too, but it's I'm me reading I'm there's a lot of things that it was like kind of epiphanies in this book. I was like, wow, I never looked at it like that. You know what I'm saying? As
Right.
far as like one of the things that, not to get sidetracked on the book, but like one of the things the dude was talking about, where the kid is like, oh, talking about anger, and he's like, oh, you can't tell me I have a choice to be angry. And then the dude gave him a story, and I'm like, well, listen, there's a picture of a mother yelling at a daughter,
Right.
right? About something about grades or whatever. And she's furious and yelling at the daughter. They're both having an argument. Then
Right.
the phone rings. The mom picks up the phone really angry and says hello, and then realizes it's her boss. And then automatically, oh, how you doing? This and that, and changes her demeanor. And
Right.
he goes, she had a choice. If she didn't have that choice, you know what I'm saying, she would still be yelling at this the boss or whatever, because that anger is a choice.
Right.
It's just a tool to help you do what you want to do as far as expressing emotion. I mean, whatever. It's a dope little excerpt of that book, but damn, I kind of got sidetracked already. But
No. No. And
what was that song?
no, we were you were going to talk about your favorite book, but I asked a question
Um,
about that because the title of your most recent book, man, is just the opposite of what is going on in society right now, right? Where everyone
yeah.
wants to be liked. Everybody wants followers, and everybody wants to get the most attention to their videos and so forth. So it just caught my ear, man. It's just it's ironic in this day.
I mean, it definitely, the title definitely lured me into it. When I saw the title, I was like, okay, I want to read this one. My favorite book, it's between two. I mean, aside from my religious book, obviously the Bible, but
Right.
my favorite book, aside from that, is All right, there was one called Nathan from by Nathan McCall called Makes Me Wanna Holler by Nathan McCall that I
Okay.
read at a young age, but I always kind of revisit. It's about like a guy that did a lot of stuff growing up. It's basically his biography.
Okay.
But one of my favorite books I would have to say besides that is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's a pretty popular little novel or
Okay.
little book, but that book I read it. I always come back to that book and just read it whenever I feel like reading it.
What's the book about? Can
The
you
Alchemist.
yes.
All right, The Alchemist is about it's about a kid that like lives in this little place. I believe I remember it's in Spain,
Okay.
and he meets this guy that gives him that basically this guy gives him like a dream, tells him that there's a treasure or whatever
Okay.
in Egypt
Okay.
for him. Well, he has like a dream or whatnot, but I'm not gonna get into specifics. But basically, this guy gives him two stones and tells him there's a treasure waiting for him. And this kid's like a shepherd, so he decides to leave all his sheep and everything. He just leaves everything and goes on this quest for to Egypt
Okay.
and to right next to the pyramids, and that's basically the whole book. You know, like his quest over there, and it's essentially just like a big metaphor for life. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like it's not the destination, it's the journey. So it's like all the journey, everything that he went through there,
Right.
and basically trying to reach your goals and never leaving your goals behind, just keep on going for your goals kind of mentality.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good stuff, man. Now I can't.
Well, I kind of butchered the summary, but like, but
No, that's
essentially that's
cool.
what it
No, that's
is.
cool. No, I have to ask, man. You have three pictures behind you, paintings behind you, right? Now
Oh yeah.
one is of Nas, and the other one I believe is Method Man. And that one on
Yeah.
top, I don't know if that's like a cassette tape or a radio.
There's a boombox.
Yeah,
A
okay, okay.
boombox up there.
Now,
The
now,
Red Man one over here. The Red Man one's dope too, but you can't see it in the thing. It's
oh, so you have another one over there. Okay. So it
yeah, all the way to the corner. Yeah.
Okay. So talk to me about those two artists. I mean, they must have some sort of meaning for you, to for you to have them hanging on your wall.
Yeah, man, these are the dudes that raised me in the rap game. You know what I'm saying? Like they in through records. You know, Nas, I mean, he's self-explanatory, man. He spit a story backwards. He's done such amazing things with his pen that it was like almost unmimicable until later on, until somebody came along and sounded, you know, similar to him. But like you never heard anybody that sound like him for years. And Method Man, well, when I was growing up, Wu Tang and Method Man were like the coolest motherfuckers on the planet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And Redman was the man, bro. To this day, Redman is the man.
Right.
You
Right.
know, like you know what I'm saying? Like that to me, he's the GOAT because he's been consistent since I was a kid. He kept on rapping, and every time you hear him, it doesn't sound old,
It
but
doesn't.
it has the old style still to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's like he didn't change. It's just him still making new dope music. You feel me?
And that's hard to do, man. Because you have some
Yeah,
cats that were out maybe in the '90s or early 2000s or whatever, man, and they try, or even some of the cats in the '80s, right? And they try to come
yeah,
back now, man. It's like they're outdated. But that cat, Redman, I mean,
yeah,
he's been doing it forever, and he still, like you said, he still sounds like, his sounds really, fresh and new.
yeah, man. I be telling people, man. Um, me and this other rapper in MC that's in South Florida, Shotty, we share the same sentiments when it comes to Redman. We've been telling people, man, he's the GOAT because like he just is, man. But like Meth doing it up big too, you know. But there's a little rocky time in the middle with Meth, but like he got his footing again and
Right.
still rocking the shit. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right. Yeah. And speaking of Shotty, man, we spoken to Shotty once before, man, and dude is nice. Dude is a real MC, man. So like I
Yeah,
said,
no, he's nice.
Miami, man, you cats have a lot of artists down there in Miami that can spit. And then speaking of that, let's talk about your podcast, right? It's
Yeah,
barcodes, right? Talk
yeah,
talk
Barcodes podcast.
talk about the podcast, because I know that it's primarily around MCing, right? And
Yeah.
and breaking down verses and that sort of thing. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, man, it was just like kind of an idea that came to mind. Me just having a few drinks with a couple of fellas, and I was just like decided I was gonna make a podcast. Let's because we were breaking down bars to each other. It's like, yo, look what I got here, look what I got here. And then I said, yo, we should do a podcast about this shit. And then the other person I was speaking to was like, maybe you could do that. I'm not with that. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I found my boy, that my co-host that was down to do it.
Okay.
And we just started from there, because essentially I thought as an MC, there's a lot of times that I'll put stuff in my lines, what I'm saying, that will go over people's heads. What I'm
Okay.
saying? And especially since people are not sitting down and living with that music for long. What I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So I felt like I know that's not only happening to me. What I'm saying? I know that's happening to almost all the MCs out there. So I'm like, why not give them a platform where they could break down their bars the way they intended it to be. Now, granted, people are going to have their own interpretations of the bars, which is great. But the MC still wants to be like, hey, this is what I meant, and this is what was here. You probably didn't miss this or whatnot. So we give that opportunity for the artist, and it's strictly for MCs.
Okay.
Um, we might open it up for singers and stuff like that, but like right now it's just for the MCs. You know what I mean?
Okay. And when
Yeah.
and where do what if people want to check out the podcast, when do you do it? Is it once a week, once a month? And
Yeah,
where can they view it?
you guys could check it out on YouTube, or you could check it out. We're all on all the streaming platforms, Spotify. I think we're on Tidal too. Anywhere that they have podcasts, we on it.
Okay.
Um, the we release, we try to release every week.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll skip a week or whatnot, but we try to release every week. And we've had pretty dope guests. We had a lot of dope guests. Some names that are more recognizable than others, and also like check it out, man.
Okay. And can you let's move into kind of your latest works, right? That you've put out. Um why don't you share with us the inspiration behind your latest EP, the Mirage?
Mirage. Well, Mirage, I tell everybody, Mirage is not it's not gonna be for everybody. There's some people who are gonna listen to it and they're gonna shy away from it because it speaks about a lot of things that people might not subscribe to. I touch a little bit on my faith in that project, and I also I touch on a lot of the things that are not being said for that person that's pursuing that dream in this music industry. You know what I'm saying? So like I touch a lot on that, where it's like, the one of the lines I say, the glamour of a rapper seems to be moving backwards, you know, at times, because essentially the the online hustle, the having to do all these shows, not really getting broken off too much for, you know what I mean? Like there's a
Right.
lot that contributes to the hustle, and there's not a lot of ROI. There's not a lot of return on investment. So my aspect, or my perspective in that project, not saying that I'm 100% in on everything I'm saying on that. It's just giving another perspective to people.
Right.
But it's basically saying, hey, you know what? Don't put all your chips in one basket sometimes. Some people will tell you like, yo, there's no, I believe Will Smith said it. There's no reason for plan B, you just, because it'll just take you away from plan A. But sometimes plan B, in my opinion, could be a family that you could have had, that the a life that could have been good, instead of like constantly pursuing this. kind of hustle bustle. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
I personally bumped into a lot of artists that I wish they would have made it because of how much they put into it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's all balance. That's essentially what it's all about. That balance. And the name of the record is called Mirage, due to the fact that since we are looking at this dream
Hmm.
of ours, it's always at the horizon. We're almost there. We gonna get there, but then it disappears and it goes back on the horizon. It's a
Right.
mirage. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, that makes sense. It's like, hey, I can see it, man. And all of a sudden, what
Yeah,
the dust storm, the sandstorm, or something, wipes it away from us. But hey, it reappears, and I'm going after it
yeah,
again. Right. So no, I
exactly.
get that. Now there's a track on the EP. I believe it's called Wishing Wells. Now
Yeah.
it addresses kind of a deeper theme, right? Explain to us what the message is and the emotions on that track.
Well, Wishing Wells is essentially the same subject matter that I was just speaking on, but it goes deeper on that because it also touches on technology, right? Where we're kind of just facing everything. We're not looking around us of all the beauties that are around us. You know what I'm saying? We're just grinding and grinding and trying to get to that next thing and trying to trying to find success, but it's just not there. It's the mirage type of thing. That the whole EP is sort of that theme. But Wishing Wells, to be honest, it's the centerpiece of that EP. The way that record came out, shout out to Seven Star. He did his thing on there, and man, that track did definitely it was a great track. It came out. It's one of those tracks that came out exactly how I wanted it to come out. You know?
Okay. And now it's been getting a lot of traction with DJs domestically and internationally, right? How did that happen?
Yeah, yeah. To tell you the truth, I have no idea how it happened. But I'm grateful for it, man. Thank God. I've been getting people showing like DJs showing me love in France and Germany and Europe, and all across these, man. And they've been showing me that they're spinning it out there, and they that track seems to be liked a lot. So I'm just glad that I could make or be part of something that brings joy to somebody. You feel me?
Right. Right. Now let's talk about the I believe it was released on December 20, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Random Acts of Violence. That's a
Yeah,
full length project.
yeah.
How did that come together?
Our random acts of violence, believe it or not, is there's a lot of tracks that have been sitting in the back burner that we've had
Okay.
that were released in other little platforms and that weren't getting traction here and there, like as singles or whatnot, or not even singles, but just like as loose tracks.
Yeah.
And I decided, I was like, you know what? I have enough newer content, and these deserve a home. You know what I'm saying? Some of these tracks deserve a home. So I mixed it all back together. I put it together, mixed it up, mastered it, and we sent it out like as sort of like a plus, because we did the Mirage, and then I took all of my newer joints for the Random Acts of Violence and combined it with some of the older joints and sent it out, and that's been getting a lot of traction itself as well. I've been getting a lot of good responses from that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's more or less how it came out. And to tell you the truth, I was making the cover, just like messing around with my phone. And when I
Okay.
saw that cover, I was like, yo, that's it. I'm making the album. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that joint is fire, man. The cover is fire.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, yeah, nah,
Appreciate it.
definitely. Now talk to us about your favorite track off of that album.
My favorite track, my personally, my favorite track, um, Forest is one of my favorite joints on there.
Okay.
Um,
Cause
let's
I
see.
let me see. I think it's track number 2, man. That joint is crazy. I don't remember the name of it right now, but
Future Hold, I think it was Future Hold.
the
Uh,
the production on that
yeah,
joint is crazy too, man. And I think
yeah, Future Hold.
I like the one after that, number three. I think you have
King Tetris.
yeah, 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 yeah. That joint is fire
Yeah,
too.
that's produced by Phallic. That joint with Mowgli. Yeah, the ends.
Yeah, yeah.
That you see that, believe it or not, that one was one of the back burners. That was one that we released before,
Okay,
and I felt like it needed a home. It needed to be on the platforms. It needed a little bit more, a little bit better mix and all that stuff. So we just I kind of re-released it on that one.
okay, okay. Now talk to us a little bit about um your 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 you know you're shooting videos now. You're directing videos.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. How is that different from being an artist and MC and just writing, and now you have to put everything together, right? To get the right shot. Talk to us about that. How is that coming along?
It's like I love it, to be honest. I love directing. I love editing videos.
Okay,
I also edit my podcast.
okay,
Um and how I essentially got started on it was just trying to be self-sufficient. You know what I mean? Like, because it gets a little pricey trying to get everybody to, getting somebody to do a video and getting all
right.
that. And essentially, we're all human beings, and we got YouTube University, so there's no reason why we can't do it all. You know what I mean? So like, that's definitely what I did. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go on YouTube University and learn all this shit. And that's what I did. And I love it. I'm having a blast with it, man. And I love being able to create dope visuals for peers out here in Miami as well.
Right.
I've done some stuff for John Jiggs. I did a video
Okay.
for him.
Okay.
I just filmed a few videos for Scam 2.
Okay.
Scam. So yeah, man, I'm out here working.
Nah, definitely. Now, are you traveling or are they coming to Miami to shoot? I'm sure most of them come to Miami. Everybody
Yeah,
wants to
mostly.
go to Miami.
Yeah, if you're in Miami, I'll catch you. If you gotta take me out of here, man, it's gonna be hard, man. I'm a little bit of a hermit. I love my city. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
but but yeah, man, I'm willing. I'm open to do it. It's just like the opportunity hasn't arisen where people are trying to fly me out in order to do the videos though.
Okay. Now, how do you balance all of that, man? You're an MC. You run a podcast. Now you're filming videos. How do you manage all of that?
Man, somebody recently asked me that, and the best answer that I could give is the honest one, which is I have no idea, bro. Like
You
I'm
just
out here.
you
I
just
just do it
make it happen.
I make it happen. What's good is one of the best things I could say is that when you're passionate about something, it doesn't feel like work.
Right.
So it's like I love rhyming. So it's like when somebody gives me a feature and be like, "Yo, hop on this record." I'm thinking about that record the whole day while I'm doing other stuff, and I'm writing it in my head and blah blah blah, and then I'll go to my studio, my home studio, record it, lay it down, send it off. Then right after I do that, let me go edit this next episode or edit my boy's video or my video or whatnot. But the fun, the to me my favorite stuff to do right now is the obviously the music, but the editing for the music videos. If
Okay.
they give me if they give me the reins,
If they give you the
you know what I'm
creative
saying?
the create
Yeah, if they give me the reins, yeah,
yeah, yeah. No, cool, man. Let me ask
yeah,
you this. Now you dropped the EP, I believe it was on December 15th, and then you come back with a
yeah,
full length on December 20th. What I mean,
yeah.
that's not conventional, right? I mean, you think back to some other artists that kind of dropped albums in the same year, but I mean that was within 5 days. What was your thinking behind dropping an EP and then not too long after that drop a full length project?
Well, in Mirage, there's a skit that I made, which most albums and EPs don't ever have skits anymore. So I'm actually really proud of that skit. If you ever get a chance, listen to it. But it entails the demand that are asked of artists nowadays, right? So it's like in the 90s, they're like, hey, look, yo, you gotta at least have a single ready next year, you know. All right, cool, I'll do that. All right, you just drop another tape in the 2000s. Oh, you got to drop another mixtape at least every 6 months. You know, like so that trajectory goes in there. So it was
Right,
kind of a play on that. It was a kind of a play on that skit where it was like, oh, okay, you want me to drop an album? I dropped an EP right now. Oh, so you want another album? Here, here's another one in 5 days. You know, it was just kind of like I'm not gonna do it every time, obviously. I haven't dropped
right,
anything in a couple of months, but it was just kind of like to show, oh, you want me to do that here? Now you got more. You feel me?
right, right. Now you're in the correct me if I'm mispronouncing it, but you're a founding member of Watch Wolves, correct?
Yeah.
Is that the correct pronunciation? Because I know you spell it
Yeah, yeah.
differently.
Yeah, we spell it with the X and the V's and stuff like that,
Yes,
like
yes.
to make it look cool.
Yeah, no, no, that's what it is. How do
Yeah.
you see your collective, man, your team, the role in shaping what was happening in hip hop in Miami?
I do feel that we are definitely a staple in Miami. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people here that are doing great things, like we mentioned before, Shadi, H doing my boy Orion, DJ XS. There's so many people. This dude named Jax 35, he's doing a lot of good things too. But like what I would feel like what Wolves are, like my collective,
Huh?
we've been we've been doing this and for a very long time. Not saying that those dudes ain't doing it for a very long time either, because they got some years under their belt as well. But for us, we're like we're okay with venturing to do other stuff. You get what I'm saying? Within the realm of the hip hop, like my boy Big G, he makes the shirts. You know what I'm saying? He makes the merch. He knows how to do all that stuff. He rhymes too. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Then Mowgli, he has bars. He's like probably the best beat selector and I've ever met in my life. Like
Yeah, we
he
like
knows how to
we
pick
like
beats.
Mowgli over here, man. We like him. Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking Joey De Silva, like he's also a painter. You know what I'm saying? Like an artist, painter. He's and his pen is like immaculate. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
Joey's nice
he,
too, man. He's on that. I think he's on that second track. I can't remember the
yeah, he's on Future Hold. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
he cleans up on Future Hold.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that joint is crazy. It's crazy.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. And essentially we're definitely part of the community where we have a lot of our merch out there. You know what I'm saying? And we like my boy Big G, he does a lot of the printing for other artists and
Okay.
designs for other artists out here. So regardless if we're not part or affiliated with somebody else, we're still there because you know what I'm saying, my man put the design on their shirt or their
Right,
logo, you know what I'm saying? So like we're
right,
definitely a staple in here. And it's all grateful. We're all grateful for it. You know what I mean?
right, right. And before you go, man, just one more question. What's been the most memorable um experience so far in this journey for you in hip hop?
When I was able to get a feature from Onyx.
Talk about that then. What on it was on it was
Yeah.
it's also on the LP, right?
It was my first official LP that I
Okay.
dropped because I've had a lot of projects, but my first streaming, the ones that was on the streaming platforms I dropped a couple of years ago. It was self-titled called
Uh,
Mr. Belief.
yes.
And Rock. Let me not say not take away from Rockness Monster also. That was another feature that was just
Crazy. Crazy.
like one of these checking off my bucket list kind of things,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
I How it came about was like I reached out to them during the whole pandemic thing. Everybody was locked down. And I kind of figured I'm like everybody's locked down, and I'm figuring most of these artists that are eating off of performances are not eating as much. You know what I'm saying? Might not be eating as much.
Right.
But I'm being honest. I was being strategic here. I was just like, well, you know, maybe if I hit them up now and stuff like that, and maybe they'll actually respond back to me or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And essentially that's what happened, man. I hit up I hit up I forgot their manager's name. Comes off the top of my head, but I hit their page up. It was
Right.
directed to their manager, and we worked it out for a couple of I don't know, about a month of going back and forth. And when Sticky and Frajo actually started like responding to me and actually talking to me back and forth, it was just like, wow, man, these are dudes that I growing up I mimicked in the mirror, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like these, and I got to do a song with them, and it was just a blessing. Same thing with Rockness Monster. Rockness, I hit him up and he hit me back immediately and then got me the vocals and everything back real
Oh, wow.
quick.
Wow.
And it was just a blessing, man. And it was just like, wow, it was one of those things where it's like, yo, I did it. you know?
Right. 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 No,
Yeah,
that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. So,
yeah.
so tell the people where they can reach out to you, man. Give them your social handles, all the links that you want to give out.
Um, I am Beleaf in IG. You can check me out also if you want to check out the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, all the streaming platforms. It's the Barcodes Podcast with a Z at the end of barcodes. And you can check out Watch Wolves. It's spelled, man, I don't know, I can't remember the spelling. It's like V or X.
I
The
think
with the O, it's either a V or an X. You'll find us though. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Watch Wolves
I think it's with an X,
with the
WX.
X. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mowgli always changes that shit, so I don't know.
I could be wrong too. I don't know. I just know the last time I saw it was with an X.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, you can find me out there, man. I'm out here. And whenever you see a video from an artist out there here in South Florida or any around, look at the left corner and the bottom, see if it's directed by Mr. Belief. And if you need one, holla at me.
No, that's good stuff again, man. Mr. Belief, I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
No, definitely, man. Thank you for having me, man. It was a pleasure, man.
Same here, man. We'll talk soon then.